In the year 1919, on the eve of her 20th birthday, Aisha and her friends arrived at a quiet tavern on the edge of town. The lamps along the cobblestone street flickered softly, bathing the night in golden haze. Laughter filled the air as the girls stepped inside, unaware of the shadow that the night would leave behind. Inside, the warmth of music and chatter wrapped around them. Candles glowed against old wooden beams, the scent of wine and smoke drifting through the air. They sang, they danced. It was a night made for memories. Aisha laughed more than anyone that night, her smile bright, her eyes hazy with joy, and just a touch of wine. To her friends, she was the heart of the celebration. But not far from their table sat a man, calm, soft-spoken, and unfamiliar. Before long, their laughter intertwined, as though they'd known each other all their lives. Her friends barely noticed when she drifted away from the group, lost in conversation with him. The night was loud, the lights warm, and no one imagined danger hiding beneath it. Now and then, she turned her eyes toward the tavern's wooden door, the faint lantern light spilling through its small window. Her friends laughed and danced, never seeing her glance. Shadows rippled along the floor as the lantern swayed. Somewhere between the music and the laughter, Aisha slipped away. Outside, the street waited, quiet, fog settling low. The young man followed just a few steps behind, his voice low, almost kind. Under the pale glow of the lamps, they walked down the narrow street together, their figures fading slowly into the mist. No one saw them leave. No one saw where they went. When the music stopped and the candles burned low, only silence remained. The chairs stood empty, the laughter gone. And by dawn, Aisha was nowhere to be found. The following morning, the town stirred beneath a pale, reluctant sun. Mist clung to the rooftops, and the streets were empty, as though the night itself had taken something it refused to give back. Inside the Ronalds' home, ribbons and flowers waited patiently for a celebration that would never come. The scent of the freshly baked cake still lingered in the air. Aisha's mother stood by the window, her eyes tracing every passing shadow. Her daughter was always home before dawn. Always. Across town, her friends awoke slowly, their laughter from the night before still echoing faintly in their minds, until they realized her place at the table was empty. By midday, worry had become panic. Calls were made, messengers sent, doors knocked upon. Yet no one had seen Aisha since the tavern closed its doors. At the constabulary, the report was brief, almost routine. 19-year-old female, last seen near the East Bridge Tavern, midnight. But something in her father's trembling voice made the clerk look up twice. The tavern looked different in daylight, quiet, colorless, stripped of laughter. The owner spoke softly of how the girl had been cheerful, kind, and how she left with a man he'd never seen before. He remembered the fog swallowing them whole, the man's hand gently guiding her toward the car, waiting by the lamppost. And then, nothing but silence. When the story reached her parents, the mother's hands fell still upon her lap. Her eyes searched the floor as though she might find her daughter's footsteps there. That evening, the house remained as it had been prepared. Candles half melted, ribbons untouched, a cake for a birthday that never came. In the quiet, the mother wept into her husband's shoulder, whispering the same words again and again. She'll come home. She will come home. The days dragged on in silence, and hope began to wilt like the flowers on her untouched birthday table. The police continued their search, but each sunrise brought nothing, only questions. In the small police office, cigarette smoke curled through the air as weary officers stared at her photograph. In the background, a clock ticked, as if mocking their failure. Behind the tavern, an officer stumbled upon a clue, a torn piece of cloth, caught on a rusted nail. The fabric was faintly stained, and the air around it seemed to grow heavier. Under the faint lantern glow, the officer lifted the fabric. Soft, torn clean through, edges darkened by something he chose not to name. He turned it gently, realizing it wasn't just a clue. It was a message from the night itself, a trace of where she'd been and what might have followed. That night, as her mother slept, she dreamed of her daughter, standing by the window, calm, distant, bathed in pale fog. She didn't speak, but her eyes whispered something no voice could carry. At dawn, the search led to the riverbank. A shoe, small, delicate, half buried in the mud. The same color her mother bought her weeks before. The same size. The father stood there, motionless, hat in hand, staring at the water. The world felt colder that morning, and the river never looked so wide. In the station, the caseboard grew crowded. Her picture, the cloth, a crude sketch of the man in a coat. Each clue pointed somewhere, yet led nowhere. Days later, a letter came to the house. The words were simple, but the mother trembled as she read them. "We're still looking." That night, the street outside fell quiet again. Only the mist moved, and somewhere within it, the sound of footsteps faded, as if history was walking away. Days turned into weeks, yet her laughter still lingered in the walls. The balloons sagged, the cake hardened, as if time itself refused to move. Every evening, her mother sat by the window, watching the road that never brought her back. The fog came and went, but Aisha never did. Her father spoke less each day. He'd sit for hours, replaying that morning, wondering if he could have changed what was already written. Her room remained untouched. But some nights, the mirror caught a flicker of light, as if the shadows still remembered her name. And under the moon's pale eye, her mother waited, lantern in hand, whispering into the night. "Come home, my child, just once more." That night, the fog came thicker than ever, swallowing every sound, every breath of the sleeping town. Her mother stepped outside again, clutching the lantern like a prayer. She had stopped counting the nights, but hope refused to die. And then, through the haze, a shape appeared, small, still, familiar. Her lips trembled. "Aisha," she whispered. The fog shimmered, and a soft glow answered. She smiled through her tears as the light faded away. No one believed her the next morning, but she knew. Her daughter had finally come home. Every story leaves a shadow, and every shadow hides another tale. Subscribe for more thrilling episodes.